The ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed, is known for his harsh treatment of ex-wives and even his own daughters if they dare to go against him. But this story is even more shocking than usual. His ex-wife remembers him with fear and tears in her eyes because he took everything from her: her freedom, her happiness, and even her child. Yet, their love story began like a fairy tale. It seemed like it would last forever. So, what went wrong? How did Sheikh Mohammed go from passionate lover to ruthless punisher? Stay with us as we uncover the truth. Their story began in 1972. Mohammed was 23, a rising political figure as Dubai's defense minister. Randa, just 16, was a young Lebanese girl trying to enjoy life. They met at a party in Beirut, where Randa had gone after being expelled from Catholic school. It was love at first sight. Mohammed was captivated, and soon they were married. He showered Randa with expensive gifts, wrote her love poems, and whisked her away on private jet trips. Their life was a dream: luxury, champagne, and parties in London. But when they moved to Dubai, everything changed. Randa quickly realized that life in Dubai was nothing like the free-spirited world she had known. The man who once adored her became controlling. He treated her less like a wife and more like a possession. Arguments became a daily routine. Then, in 1977, they had a daughter, Manal. But just when Randa thought she could find joy in motherhood, a dark turn of events shattered her world. There are whispers of what truly happened, but neither Randa nor Mohammed speak of it. Some say he demanded she convert to Islam and take a Muslim name. She agreed to change her name to Haifa, but refused to give up her Catholic faith. That was the final straw. Mohammed was furious. He divorced her and threw her out of the palace. But he wasn't done yet. He made one final move that destroyed her life forever. He took their 5-month-old daughter and forbade Randa from ever seeing her again. Her love story had turned into a nightmare, one she would never wake up from. After being thrown out of the palace, Randa was sent back to Lebanon, alone and abandoned. She had nothing: no money, no education, no home, no future, but worst of all, she had no child. For decades, Randa fought desperately to see her daughter, even for a moment. But Sheikh Mohammed was merciless. He refused every plea, crushing her hopes again and again. Randa later shared the heartbreaking details of his cruelty in an interview with the Sunday Times. When Manal was just a toddler, Sheikh Mohammed pretended to show kindness. He sent Randa a photo of a little girl sitting in his arms. Overwhelmed with emotion, Randa cried for days, clutching the picture like a sacred treasure. It was the only connection she had left. Then she received a letter. It was from Mohammed, and it was a joke. The letter revealed that the child in the picture wasn't Manal at all, just another girl. He then made it clear Randa would never see her daughter again. To him, it was amusing. To her, it was soul-crushing. But Mohammed wasn't done. He had one last act of revenge. In 2000, when Manal turned 23, he reached out to Randa with an offer of forgiveness. He promised that she could finally see her daughter if she came to Dubai for an elite social event where Manal would be present. But there was a condition. She had to wear an expensive evening gown. Randa, struggling to survive, couldn't afford it. But she borrowed money, determined to meet her child. When she arrived at the event, she searched frantically. She had no idea what Manal looked like as an adult. She begged for help, only to be met with cruel words. If you're her real mother, your heart should find her on its own. Randa searched the entire evening. She never found Manal because Manal was never there. It had all been another one of Mohammed's games. And when she returned to Beirut, the final blow came. Mohammed had banned her from ever entering Dubai again. It meant one thing: she would never see her daughter again. But even after everything, Randa refused to give up. 5 years later, Randa got another chance. Manal was 28 years old and about to be married. Her husband? Sheikh Mansour, the son of the ruler of Abu Dhabi. It was to be a royal wedding. And this time, it wouldn't take place in Dubai, but in Abu Dhabi. For Randa, that changed everything. With the help of a Saudi princess who had been invited to the wedding, she found a way in. The princess promised to take her along so she could at least see her daughter in a wedding dress, if only from a distance. But just days before the flight, disaster struck. In the middle of Beirut, Randa was attacked. A masked man came out of nowhere, brutally beating her. By the time help arrived, she was barely alive. Instead of a wedding hall, she found herself in a hospital bed, unconscious for days. And when she finally woke up, the first thing she saw sent chills down her spine. Sheikh Mohammed was standing over her. The man who had taken everything from her, her child, her freedom, her dignity, was now here in her hospital room. He swore he had nothing to do with the attack, that he had traveled to Lebanon only to clear his name. But even as he denied involvement, his message was clear: don't ever try to see Manal again. The meeting she had fought for, suffered for, had been stolen from her once again. Rumors swirled. Some claimed the Saudi princess had betrayed Randa, informing Mohammed of her plan. Enraged, the sheikh allegedly ordered the attack in a moment of fury, one he later regretted. But there was no proof, no evidence, just another tragic twist in Randa's never-ending battle. And the suffering didn't end there. When Randa first returned to Lebanon after her divorce, she thought she had lost everything. But soon, war erupted. The country was plunged into chaos and survival became even harder. Then came the final blow. A militia commander forced her into marriage. Her fight for Manal had cost her everything. He was brutal to her. She begged for a divorce, but he refused. They had 2 children together. But Randa never stopped fighting. When the civil war finally ended, she saw her chance for revenge. She turned her husband over to the authorities. It was a bold move, and it paid off. In return for her cooperation, she was granted freedom. She could leave Lebanon with her 2 children. She started over in Italy. Now, Randa is 67, Manal is 46, and in all these years they have never met, not once, because Sheikh Mohammed still forbids it. With the rise of the internet and social media, Randa at least knows what her daughter looks like. But no picture can replace the embrace of a mother and child. These days, Randa lives in Italy with her children from her second marriage. Meanwhile, Manal is married to an Arab aristocrat, working in the civil service in the Emirates. In a cruel twist of fate, she even founded the Dubai Women's Organization, an institution advocating for women's rights and freedom. Yet she, herself, is not free. Her own mother is still banned from seeing her. Randa clings to hope. In an interview, she said, "All I want is to hold her in my arms again." Her words came at a time when Princess Haya bint Al Hussein, the Sheikh's most recent escaped wife, was suing him in a British court, demanding sole custody of their children. But unlike Randa, Princess Haya was lucky. She escaped with her kids. Even now, after nearly half a century, Sheikh Mohammed refuses to let Randa see her daughter. Perhaps, for him, this is about more than just revenge. Perhaps this is about power, a final, lasting reminder of his control. What do you think? Does this story prove that love sometimes comes at an unbearable price? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe.